Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel and my Facebook page. And happy Friday, y'all. Like today is just a beautiful day. And I said that about every day, right? But I mean, what can you say? Like it's California, it's South California, and the weather is just beautiful. I believe it's in the 70s. And when I left, when I got out of the house this morning, it was like I checked my weather on Google and it said like 67 degrees, but it didn't feel like 67 degrees when I went outside. Uh-oh. It did not feel like 67 degrees when I stepped outside, but it's starting to warm up and it feels great. And yeah, this video like it's a different topic, slightly different than what I usually talk about, kinda anyway, but okay, so my professor yesterday, he asked a question to the class. He was like, when the last time have you felt joy? And then, there was this one person who spoke up and she talked about her experience, most recent experience feeling joy. But then, like, after that, like, he kind of, like, shut the conversation down and then was just like, oh, I know it may be difficult for you guys to identify when you may feel joy because people tend to cut off that feeling. I'm like, okay, interesting. Like, he has a way with words, right? And being that he is a New Yorker, I'm just like, is he trying to do reverse psychology on us or what? But I'm like, I started to think about it, and I felt like he didn't really give us time to really respond because, like, after she, shared her experience, it was like, okay, he kind of jumped right in and was like, okay, none of you guys, he kind of like assumed that none of us have experienced joy recently. And I'm just like, I find that quite ironic because I feel like I experience joy very frequently. Like, believe it or not, I mean, you guys see that even in my videos, like, especially when I come here and I'm just so excited. Like, I'm always excited. So I feel like that question, it kind of threw me off a little bit because it's like kind of asking a person, okay, when the last time you had money in your bank account? It's kind of assuming that a person doesn't have money. Like, it's like a unusual occurrence or something. So I don't know. That's the kind of the way I took it. I'm like, what is he trying to get at? More than even asking, like, more than answering the question, I was more thinking about, like, okay, what is he trying to get at? But yeah, it kind of threw me off guard a little because I'm like, okay, I kind of experience joy pretty frequently. I mean, I could be riding a bus like the other day, just maybe 2 days ago, I was on the bus and there was this little kid, this baby was sitting in front of me. Well, his mom was holding him, but he was like turning around looking at me and he was just so happy and just joyful. And like, joy is contagious. So like, for me anyway, so when I see somebody happy and just feeling good, like, I catch that happiness. And so I started smiling back at him and I just felt really good inside just seeing his joy in him. And he was like a little infant, so that's like one example. But I've experienced joy like all the time. I mean, even recently, ironically, the same professor actually just agreed to be on my dissertation committee. So when I got the email from him just the other day, a few days ago, that brought joy to me, like, I'm like, wow, because it was kind of like he gave me kind of a 1 week window to confirm that he was going to be able to serve on my committee. But then I was like, okay, let me just give him some time. And then I checked my email this week and he was like, yeah, he would be able to do it. So I felt like really happy about that. I'm like, okay, great. So I have 3 people, which is 3 people that I need, already signed up to be on my dissertation committee. So that's one and done. I was like, okay, because I really wanted him because he's like, I guess because he's from New York, and I like New Yorkers, like, I love New York. It's just something about them, like, I don't know, they just so real. I like that. And he's very, like, he can be critical at times, but like in a good way, like the way he delivers criticism is just honest, and I appreciate that. And so I felt like I needed him to be a part of my research. So that was one example. You guys have seen another clear example when I experienced a lot of joy. This was several months ago when the whole thing about Dr. Umar Johnson and the email situation. You guys go back and watch that. But it was like an email sent on behalf of Dr. Umar Johnson, which I thought it came from him, but it didn't. And you guys know I have a crush on him. So, I got like really excited about that, like really overjoyed. I felt overjoyed with that. But I mean, I experienced joy like just day to day. I mean, even when I go live and do my videos, like I'm happy. I feel when I hit the record button or whatever, it's the go live button, I feel like happy because I just feel like, okay, this is another day alive and I get to talk to you guys and just be myself. And I feel like this, out of all places, this is when I really get to like be myself, you know, because of course, like when I'm in school, I have to wear this professional coat, you know, but I really get to like be myself, you know, in my videos. So, and this, I have to say this reason why I did this video is because I feel like sometimes people think just because African Americans are like racially oppressed or we go through our struggles and stuff that we just can't be happy, and it's like it's odd to them. Like I think especially white people, particularly like when they see black people who are happy, it's just like it kind of throws them off. And even like some encounters that I've had recently, you know, with colleagues, they looking at me and they just like, are you putting up on a front or is this really you? And I'm like, okay, I have to be specific because of course I carry a certain level of professionalism when I'm out, you know, in my school or at work. That's one thing. But as far as like my happiness and just me being content where I am in my life, that's genuine. You know, I can't fake that. You know, if it was something going on, like something tragic or terribly bad going on in my life, like you guys would know. And I would not be walking around with a smile on my face, but obviously that's not the situation. Like, obviously I am happy, like I'm content, you know, and knock on wood, because it's like the moment you start to, I guess, brag, so to speak, about how happy and how great things are going in your life, like something bad happens. It's inevitable, you know, that's just life. You go through your ups and downs, and that's just normal, right? But I'm like, I'm good, and I feel like it kind of bothers some of my classmates or my colleagues or just people I encounter. Like, they be like, damn, she just, I don't know if they see my blogs or they're around me and they kind of pick up on my energy, but they're just like, damn, she just got everything going good for her. Like, I don't know. Hey, and thinking about that actually is what inspired me to do this video, because I feel like not just with my specific personal situation, but I think that my personal situation is a reflection of how African Americans experience like white people, like, or just their experience in general and living in America. Because it's like it's assumed that just because black people have endured slavery, we are experiencing racial oppression. You know, we have all these other stressors associated with, you know, us just being black, like Black Lives Matter, police brutality. It's like assumed that black people can't be happy or we can't be strong, you know, or resilient or whatever. And I feel like, if anything, I feel like that's the biggest motivator for me, to seeing that, okay, you got all these attacks coming at you, but you're still alive, you know, that you still know how to survive and make it. Like, that's what motivates me. But I think from the outside looking in, people look at us like, that can't be true. Like, they can't be happy, you know, like that person just can't have good things going on in their life because, number one, you black, and black people are not supposed to be happy. Hi, Stanley. I'm talking about black kings and queens, just passing on my positive energy to the universe. And I feel like black people, we wear our like pride very well. We carry ourselves very well, you know, even though we may be going through a huge storm in our life. No one may be able to tell, you know, because it's just how we carry ourselves. And not only that, but it's that too, but more specifically, I think it's how we frame our understanding of our issues. And I think, of course, Christianity has a lot to do with that, but I think at our core, within our African spirit, just naturally, we have an inclination just to rise above it all. Like, we are strong beings. You know, so I think it's jarring to people from the outside looking in that are just like, these people can't be that happy, you know, like, let's try to stir things up, you know. And it bothers me because I noticed recently, it's like, I don't know, y'all, like, something is going on in my life. I kind of got a sense, like, my spidey senses is telling me, like, something special. I mean, something special is always going on in my life, but I feel like really right now, like, I'm in a pivotal point in my life where something special is happening, because I'm noticing a shift. Even with my relationships, it's like people are seeing me differently. And on one hand, I guess it can be good because I guess they have like reverence for me and they have this curiosity to learn more about me. And that's okay, that can be a good thing, right? But on the other hand, it's just like recently I've been having these encounters where just people just kind of been up in my face and asking me all kinds of like all just asking me questions. And to me, I don't know, it's awkward because I'm like, I'm the kind of person, I like communicating, obviously. You guys can see that. I like talking. But it's just awkward when it's just one way, like somebody just asking me all these questions and then they're not sharing nothing about them. Like for me, I feel like I'm more likely to open up to a person if they come to me and they saying, telling me about them. And it's like a mutual exchange. You tell me about your day and then of course that's going to automatically make me want to tell you about what's going on with my life. But on the other hand, if it's just people coming to me and asking me like question after question, or this, that, like I can't really disclose the questions that they're asking me, but they're just asking me like these line of questions. I'm like, dude, get off my dick, you know what I'm saying? Like, get off my dick. Of course I don't have a dick, physical dick, but like more my psychological dick. Like, get off me, like get my bag, you know what I'm saying? Because what is it? I feel like, and I see myself somewhat as a rising quote unquote celebrity, but I don't know. I'm not really in that space right now. Like, the space I'm in is I'm working towards my PhD. I want to give back to the community. That's the space that I'm in. I know that I see myself like as a semi-public figure, but I guess that's what I'm talking about in terms of like there's a shift because it feels like I'm being pulled more into the public's eye and people are treating me like I'm a celebrity. And I'm just like, okay, on one hand, that can be good because they have respect for you and they admire you. On another hand, it's just like, dude, I'm just a human being just like you. Like, why y'all up in my motherfucking grill? Why y'all up in my nose? Why you asking me all 1,001 questions? It's like I don't want to experience that. Like especially if I'm at school, right? Or if I don't want to experience that. Like now if I feel like it's a time and place for that essentially. So like if I'm on an interview, which I don't really like to do interviews, I'm gonna go back to that in a minute about the whole thing about interviews and stuff. But I mean, I feel like if it's an interview setting, okay, then of course you expect to be asked questions, but not like when I'm in school. Like, I don't mind conversation because I'm a social being. But conversation is two-way street. They're not even sharing nothing about them with me. They just like automatically come up. They see me and boom, I get hit with questions. Dun, 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 dun. I'm like, and I kind of get the sense that, okay, maybe they're just asking because they're concerned, they're curious, they want to know. But then like the questions is just, I don't know. So next time they do that, it happens to me, I'm going to have to just address it and be like, dude, stop with the questions, Like, and even recently when it happened, I kind of bounced it back and was like, what's going on with you? What's up in your life? Like you all up in my life, like question after question. What's up in your life, But back to the whole interview thing, like I've been offered many interviews. Like I'm not new to this because obviously I have a social media presence and I have a brand where I promote authors from around the country and even internationally, and people have invited me to on their radio show, on television show, and I've always been reluctant to do it. And honestly, I don't think I've done a radio interview or a television interview because I just know how like the media is, I know how like my media platform is, and I know how generally like most media stations are. Like they have a certain narrative that they want to project, and another thing is like when you go to an interview, you don't really have control. I mean, you have somewhat control, but of course it's like the interviewer, the host, is the person who dictates the narrative of the interview, right? And so of course they have certain questions they want to know. Like I don't know, I just feel irritated the whole thought about interviews, and the fact that okay, I'm going on someone else's show and then they're going to be asking me all these questions, and then a lot of times they just bring you onto their show, of course, to boost their ratings or their platform, their following, because you are our hot guest, so to speak. And they ask questions that I'll be like, maybe I'm not prepared for, or they not just ask questions, but they may say certain things that may be offensive to me. Like they don't have respect for me. Like, who are these people? Like, I don't know you. Now, one show that I watch kind of faithfully, not as religiously as I used to, but before I had moved to New York City from Atlanta, Georgia, I had got hip to the Breakfast Club in New York. I think it's 105.1. And of course, they have a YouTube channel, and I watch their shows on their interviews on YouTube, and I really like them. Like, that is one show that I definitely would not turn down an interview to go on to, because I just feel like they real, they genuine. Now, Charlamagne, of course, he the one is like, he'll be digging for stuff, right? Like, that's just his personality, you know. He like to kind of stir up, I guess, drama, or, you know, say certain things to trigger the interviewee, you know, or to boost the ratings. And like, I get it. Trust me, I get the whole nature of media, right? But yeah, I feel like overall, like, yeah, I would go on the Breakfast Club. You know, that's actually probably one of the first places I go, because I just feel like it's a safe place, and I've seen like a lot of other celebrities, like up and coming public figures and well-known public figures, have gone on to the Breakfast Club. I think Jay-Z even went there. Beyonce, I think, never been on there, but she don't really need to do interviews anyway. But I know Jay-Z's been on there, like, a lot. So many people have been on the Breakfast Club. Like, it mainly interviews black celebrities. But I think Hillary Clinton has been on there too. So quite a bit of people been on there. So that would be like one of the first. But as far as these other places, like, I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if what's up, Chris? Like, like the places I've been asked to be on this show, through social, like, people have contacted me through social media and be like, hey, we want you on the show. And I saw, most of the time I just ignore it. And same thing with like business collaborations. Like, I ignore it, because I'm like, first of all, you're coming to me wrong, and if you want me to collaborate with you, then send me a proposal. Don't be like, oh, what's your phone number? I don't give my phone number out to the public. I don't, you know. And it's like, I have people come up to me and ask me, oh, like, send me via social media messages, like, oh, what's your phone number? I have this idea, you know, I want to collaborate with you. I'm just like, you don't go that way. You want to, and I actually even met, because I felt like, okay, they don't know how I am, so let me let them know. So I reply back, and I would say, like, if you have a business proposal and you want to collaborate, then send me the proposal. I'm not saying they got to send me the whole fucking long ass business plan. I ain't asking for all of that, you know, because me as a business owner, I wouldn't send them my business plan, you know, step by step to a stranger or, you know, some random person. So I wasn't asking for that, but I'm just like, generally speaking, just send me a letter. Like, send me, what is this that you have in mind, so I will know it's even worth entertaining over the phone. You know, because that's one thing about me. My time is very valuable, and I don't just dish my time out just who the fuck do people think I am. Like, I don't dish my time out. I don't do that, you know. It's interesting because it reminds me of a conversation that we had in my class, and I was talking about how I just kind of more stay to myself, and I mean, of course I have people I associate with, you know, and they were like, oh, do you have people that you're close to? I'm like, did you watch my video? Because I just made a video on no new friends, but, you know, it's almost as if they were trying to make me feel guilty for distancing myself from people and like in general, and to say that, and that's behind that was basically saying that I said that I don't like drama, you know, and there was this whole discussion about, oh, what is drama, you know, and it was like, oh my gosh, we all know what the fuck drama is, you know. But with that, you know, like, I was talking about time. Like, my time is very valuable, and a lot of times people, not to say other people's time is not valuable, but we're not on the same page, you know. So, like, I made in my video about no new friends. Like, I specifically stated that I only associate myself with people who kind of like, we're on the same page. What I mean by on the same page is like, I have a lot going on in my life right now. Like, the number one priority, obviously, is finishing my PhD. Amen. Our time is very valuable. We don't have time for people to waste. Exactly. And aside from my PhD being my number one priority, and of course, seeing clients and fulfilling my hours and clinical requirements, like I have my brands and I have things that I'm working towards and things that I'm building. And I like the people that I associate myself with and let into my inner circle, they have to be respectful of that. And it goes both ways. By me saying that, okay, yes, this is my situation, of course, I'm going to dish the same respect back because I understand coming from that own perspective. Like, I get it. So I feel like that's the kind of people I align myself with. Like, we get each other. Even recently, like last week, I told you guys that I actually recently met an executive producer. He's producing several television shows that just got picked up by two different major networks, including BT actually. And I'm like, I just feel like, I just associate myself with people like that. I'm not saying they have to be in Hollywood, not saying they necessarily have to be a TV producer, but I think you guys kind of get what I'm saying, like it's different kinds of people. You got people that, I feel like I'm trying to see how I can frame this. With a certain kind of person comes a certain kind of responsibility and certain kinds of risk. Things are at stake. So a person who has like a lot of things going for themselves, has goals and, is headed somewhere, like they have a lot at stake. They have a lot to risk. I associate myself with people who have a lot to risk because number one, that lessens the chances that something bad is going to happen. Like if I'm dealing with somebody just regular Joe Schmo that works a 9 to 5, not to say a job isn't much to risk, but they move differently than how I move. Maybe I'm making a whole nother video about this because it's kind of going off subject, but we just got to move the same way. That's all I'm trying to say. We got to move the same way, so that I know you respect my interests. And of course, I'm definitely going to respect your interests because I don't want that to happen to me. I get it. We understand each other, But with that being said, like back to the whole kings and queens, I just feel like, yes, I'm in a point in my time in my life right now where I can sense, just like an animal, can sense fear. Like dogs can sense fear, They know when a person is afraid. It's like more of an instinctual type of thing. Like I can sense jealousy. I can sense ill intent. I can sense when someone has good intentions, like I pick up on those kinds of things, and I find it interesting. Take a sip. I'm about to end this video, y'all. I got things to do. Actually, I might take a TMZ tour today, and if I do, I'll bring you guys with me. I was about to, actually before I started the video and I was walking down Hollywood Boulevard, I actually was about to buy a TMZ tour ticket, but then they was trying to hustle me, and I'm like, dude, you can't hustle. Like, that's what gets me when, like, in business, right, or marketing, like, people, they try to, like, they don't know you, and I get it. You don't know me, right? So they just doing what they do, what hustlers do, or salespersons do, but I'm like, you can't hustle a hustler. You can't hustle a salesperson or a marketer. And I've been doing this for some years now, so I don't know how to read between the lines. But yeah, they was trying to sell me the ticket for, like, initially he was like, okay, it's $44, and I get to the place, I was like, okay, where do I purchase? And so like the marketing guy who was out there on a boulevard was kind of recruiting people to send them back to the station so he can go purchase a ticket. So I was like, okay, I'm about to go purchase a ticket. I get in there, and then it was like trying to change the price. It was like, okay, well, that dude told you 44, but that's because that was for 12:30. So you want to do 2:30, so it's actually going to be 54. And I'm like, wait a minute, you just told me 44. And he was like, okay, we have another tour at 5. I'm like, dude, we ain't about to do this. What we ain't gonna do, what you not gonna do, is sit up here and change the prices on me, like, trying to lowball and then up the price. Like, no, I see exactly what you're doing, and I'm always 2 steps ahead of people. That's what bothers me, I think, for the most part. It's like people And they just being themselves, doing what people do. I don't hold people to high expectations. I know people are gonna do what they're gonna do. That's just human nature. But I guess they don't know who they're dealing with. And that's another thing. Is like you don't know who you're dealing with, and then when I catch on your stuff, then people get offended. So I'm just like, don't try that with me, man. Don't do that, you know. But let me wrap this video up. Yeah, I just want to encourage just black people. Like we strong, man. You know, and from the outside, you know, people look at us and they just how they do it, how black people survive, and I feel like we have this archetypal energy in us that just we're destined to win. You know, so no matter what I've been through, and I've been through a lot in my life. You know, it's like I always say, and I get this from my pastor. I went to the fuck is the name of the church I went to in Jacksonville. It's been so long. Okay, damn, I can't even remember the name of the church. Anyway, it's a really big church. The pastor is Rudolph McKissick, Jr. and Senior, father and son. It's actually he's a bishop, Bishop Rudolph McKissick Jr. Dang, I can't remember the church. That's how long it's been, y'all. Dang. But anyway, yeah. When I was a member of that church, I remember like he said like he was really inspirational, you know. And he always say like, people see your glory, but they don't know your story. And that has always stuck with me. It's like people see the outside and they see our glory, but they don't know our story. And I had to write my story back in 2009 called American Dreamer, which is still under development because I'm still living my life. And I decided that the release date is going to be around the time that I get my PhD. So I'm going to kind of do those simultaneously, and which is going to be a couple years from now. And I would say right around the time that Trump finishes first term. And people say first term. I'm like, yeah, because he's going to do another term. And people are like, how you know that? Oh, I know that. Just like I knew he was going to get elected. Just like I knew that Obama was going to win before they announced the results. Like, I just know I have this good intuition. And you can just see, like, it's the way how they portray things and show things on the media. Maybe because I don't know, I'm in filmmaking, but you can tell it's the way that they tell the story on the media. You can tell what the end result is going to be. Like, you can tell. You can just tell, you know. And I knew that Donald Trump was going to win. And I feel like it's common sense. A lot of people are like on the edge of their seats, like, oh my gosh, who's going to win the election? No, duh. Whoever got the most money. This is America. I'm like, how do y'all, that goes over so many people's head. They don't get it. It's like they know that we live in a capitalistic society, right? They know this, but they don't really know this because when things are coming into play, they're like, oh my gosh, dog, how the hell? To me, it would be surprised if he did not win the election, being that he's so powerful, he has so much money, so I knew he was going to win. So I always say, like, when Trump finishes his first term, and when that's 2020, right? Yeah, 2020, because he got elected into office 2016 when I started my PhD, and my whole cohort, they was just all in tears. I'm like, oh my gosh, I get it. Trust me, I get it because it has certain ramifications with him being elected president. But on another token, I'm just like, I felt like it was common sense, and I just knew that it was going to happen. I'm like, I knew he was going to become president, so I always say when he finishes first term, 2020 is when I will be releasing, and actually when I'll be finished with all my coursework for my PhD and be releasing around that time, releasing my book called American Dreamer, my autobiography called American Dreamer. So that will be my story, and I have a lot of stuff in there. I've been through a lot in my life, and although it may look like, oh, she's just so beautiful, what can she have experienced? Like, she couldn't have experienced that much in life because she's just so beautiful. And even it's funny because my supervisor, and granted, I'm at a new clinical site now. I work in Inglewood. So my first one was in the Valley, San Fernando Valley. My second one's actually in Inglewood. Two totally different kind of demographics, right? And in Inglewood, like, of course, it being mostly African American, my supervisor is African American. Like, she refers to me as like Sugar Plum or something like that. It's kind of funny. So she's like Sugar Plum, but I think that even like that, her calling me that is kind of like a hint towards like, oh, I'm young, you know, I'm just a young little thing. I'm just like, okay, well, thank you. I take it as a compliment. I'm I'm like, okay, even though I know I'm aging myself, I'm 35, just turned 35, September 28th. So I know I'm getting older, you know, and my body sometimes tells me like I'm getting older, but I'm just like, people kind of see me. It's interesting how like people will see you one way, but you know the truth. You know, that's why I tell my professor all the time, because we had this discussion in class how like, oh, there's your truth, things that you know about yourself, and there's the other truth, that things that other people know about you that you don't know about yourself. I'm like, wait a minute. I understand the gist of what you're trying to say, but at the same time, nobody know Danielle better than Danielle. Like even my mom, there's some things that I experienced in my life that my mom don't even know, and that's my mom who gave birth to me. So nobody can ever tell me that somebody else knows me better than I know myself. Now, yeah, they may be able to observe some things that maybe small possibility that I didn't pick up on myself, but for the most part, I know myself. You say people just see the outside, but we have gone through a lot. Exactly. Everybody, we all have gone through so much. You make a great point, Chris. We all have gone through so much in life, and like people just don't get it. So yeah, I wrote my book American Dreamer just to share my personal story, and it's not necessarily a sob story. I talk about like the challenges and struggles that I've gone through in life, on top of how I was able to triumph those challenges. And yeah, I put some things in the book that is going to shock a lot of people, because I've been holding on to secrets for a long time, and I feel like, you know, that's just my way of kind of navigating through those secrets, because I feel like some secrets, okay, yes, you can take them to your grave and it's good to take to your grave, but some secrets I feel like kind of it's best that you just let them go with the wind. So hello. So, what was I saying? So, yeah, people know, like, they see the outside, but they just don't have a clue. They don't, man. And I feel like being that now that my life is kind of like on the up and up, kind of. I say kind of because it's like, hell, you never know. Life just throws so much shit at us, you know. And I know this from personal experience, because I know I was on a path in my life. And when people say, oh, congratulations, you're working towards your PhD, congratulations, you're almost done. I'm like, y'all don't have no idea. I should have been on my PhD in my 20s. I'm 35. I'll be, 37, 38, I think, when I get my PhD. I'm like, y'all just don't have a clue. I should have been a doctor. My book talks about all of that. Hold on. My book talks about all of that. So you guys can learn more about that, you know. But yeah, I should have been a doctor, man. And I've been through a lot, and bumping my freaking. Okay. Yeah, I should have been a doctor, and I'm just like, yeah. So we just never know what life may throw at us, you know. And, you know, I feel like I'm very resilient, but at least you're doing it. Some people just give up. Yeah, you can't give up. That's another thing. Like, nah, hell nah. I ain't no giving up over here, because I know who I am. I know what I'm very much well capable of. Okay. Reception is messing with me, so I'm about to go ahead in this video. But I know very much well what I'm capable of. And I just know who I am. So it don't matter the setbacks that I've experienced. If anything, that's going to motivate me to go even harder. It does. You know, I've been set back a lot of times in life. Been through a lot, man. And it just, some of y'all know some of the stuff I've been through because I've vlogged about it. You know, if y'all been kind of following my vlog on YouTube and on Facebook. But yeah, I've been through a lot, man. And I feel like that's the reason why I can just glow. Like they say, when the way the process of gold is made, you know, it goes through a refinery process, and, you know, you go through that, but then you come out and you shine, you know. So I just feel like that's where I am at in my life right now. And I feel like that's a reflection of where black people are, because, hell, we've been through a lot as black people, man. And I know other people may say, oh, all races go through. And that's what gets me, because y'all be like, all lives matter. Yes, of course. But come on, we know that there's a specific black struggle that black people have gone through historically and are still going through. you know. So let us get our time to tell our story, because it's very unique. It's very unique, and we've been through a lot, and we've overcome the obstacles that we've gone through, and we still have a lot that's thrown at us, and we just keep rising, keep rising. So I just want to motivate you guys who are watching Black Kings and Queens to just keep rising. Keep rising. We're so beautiful. We're so strong. We're magnificent. You know? And of course, all people are magnificent. Yes, you're right. I'm 41 and getting my bachelor's in healthcare management, but I never gave up no matter what. Exactly. This is never too late to go back to school, especially if you know it's going to benefit you. Some people choose the other route. They say, well, you know, that's just going to add more debt. It costs a lot of money to go to school, and there's no guarantee you're going to get a good paying job. But for me, I know I had a plan, you know, before I even finished my bachelor's degree at the age of 22 from Florida State University. Like, I had a plan on what I know I wanted to do with my life. I always wanted to be a doctor, you know. I always knew that I wanted to excel through the ranks and do research and just give back to my community, and never wanted to let anything come in the way of that. But things come in the way. That's so true. Nobody knows the struggle of Black people. Yeah, it's like I feel like people just don't know unless you're in our skin. You don't know. I feel like there are other so-called minority groups like LBGT and other ethnic minority groups that they try to like compare. You know, they try to say, oh well, that's just like this group. You know, we're going through this too. Or even the Jews. You know, they went through the Holocaust. I'm like, yes. But it's not the Black experience. We all know is very unique, and that's why we have the National African American Museum. If it wasn't that unique, we would not have this National African American Museum in D.C. that cost millions of dollars to build. Hello. If we weren't unique, we would not have this big celebration of the inauguration of the first African American president, Barack Obama. You know, obviously, being Black is a big deal, man. Is a fucking big deal. And the fact that we've overcome so much and we're still alive, we're still here, it's just amazing. It's a huge testimony, and I just want to pour back that same positive energy, you know, to my brothers and sisters, and just say like, yes, we got this, you know. It's beautiful, and I appreciate, you know, when people from other races acknowledge that, you know, they acknowledge that we been going through some things, and they acknowledge that our struggle is very unique. Even Disney, I'm like, hell, if Disney did it, wasn't Disney the one who created Wakanda? So come on, this is a media mogul company. They did it. They acknowledge that our struggle. That's the reason why they created that film for us. That film was for the Black race, man, to motivate us to instill positive images about surrounding African identity in us, because they see the deficit that we have. They see that we down each other and talk down to each other, and we've been racially oppressed by other races. They see that. And it's like, hey, this is going to be our token to you. Now, meanwhile, of course, they made billions of dollars from it, but hey, that's the nature of filmmaking. That's the nature of business. Now, can't throw shade at that. But, you know, the message itself that is sent was just so powerful, so amazing. And I definitely appreciate them for that. I appreciate anybody outside the Black race who acknowledges our struggle and is working to do things to genuinely acknowledge that and support us. You know, I appreciate that. On top of the Black people who are fighting, you know, for Black lives and doing things to get back to the Black community, of course. So I'm going to go ahead and end on that note. Thank you guys for tuning in. And I don't know, I think I might do this TMZ tour. I'm about to go back there and see. Now, watch I go back and they be like, oh, the ticket's sold out. Whatever. I ain't fooling with y'all. But let me go. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thank you guys for tuning in. And feel free to continue the conversation below and share this video with your friends and family. Goodbye.